Thank you. Uh, Hello, Julia. Could you introduce yourself to the class?
Could I what?
Could you introduce yourself to the
Oh,
class?
sure. My name is Julia Moore, and I am the Executive Director of Community Housing Management Services. We're a nonprofit, third-party management company that manages nonprofit owners affordable housing properties. We have 10 properties that we manage. They're all owned either by small nonprofits or limited partnerships that are managed by a nonprofit organization. And all of the properties are for low-income residents that are 62 and over.
Okay. So, what is your title, or and what do you do in the field of agent services?
Okay, my title is Executive Director, and I have been working in senior housing for probably over 20 years, but exclusively in senior housing for the last 3 years.
Okay, thank you. So, how or why did you choose to work in this field?
I had worked in conventional housing, and about 20 years ago, started working with affordable housing, and there was such a great need, and the population was very underserved in the community, and I just felt that was the direction that I needed to go. It made me feel good to work with the population that needed the most help.
Okay. So, uh, compared with the traditional real estate field, what is unique about what uh, uh sorry compared with the traditional real estate field, what is unique about the work you do now?
What we do now is we provide housing where the maximum income for someone, an individual, to live in our housing is about $25,000 a year. We can't house them if they make more than that. Most of our residents make $1,000 or less a month, so it's closer maybe to $12,000 to $13,000 a year. By having our buildings in the community, we're able to house these people where they can afford the rent. They can also afford their medications and doctor's visits and those kinds of things on this very small income. Most of the rents that are subsidized is based on 1/3 of their income. So some residents may only pay $200 a month for rent in a building that actually, if it were market, would probably be over $1,000 a month. So by providing this service to the community, it gives a lot of um, satisfaction that the older residents, even though they're low income, are self-sufficient. The
Yes.
buildings are lovely. I don't have a swimming pool, for instance, at the property, but we do have nice community areas where the residents can go, and we provide, in most of the buildings, we have some sort of resident services where we have educational meetings on a monthly basis, um, social gatherings where they can connect with their neighbors, and we try and help them by working through the community organization to get the help that they need.
So it's like a large community for the for the low income senior people.
There are a lot of seniors that would qualify as low income. We have waiting lists for our properties that are probably 5 years long. It takes that long to get through the waiting list because there's just so many people wanting to get into the housing that do qualify for it. So in some instances, we work with the local housing authorities, trying to make sure that if they need rental assistance, they can get it through that. But yeah, there's a huge housing, just so they can be more comfortable and feel better about their living situation.
Yes, thank you. So, how do you think your this area of you will will improve or develop in the next 15 to 20 years?
I think it's still going to be an underserved population. There's a lot of housing being built, but a lot of it is not geared towards seniors or affordable. So there's a lot of catching up that needs to be done in the industry, both by developers that are and nonprofits that are willing to develop the properties, but also the funding sources are becoming harder to find. HUD is not able to provide any funds to be able to build buildings like they used to. So it becomes a combination of sources of funds to put a building together to be able to get it built. Sometimes there's 5 or 6 sources of income that all have to be pulled together to be able to get the building built.
Okay. So, is there any promotions or plans for you to serve more low-income senior people to make the time shorter?
Well, what I'm hoping to do is I'm hoping that CHMS will grow and that we will have some more management opportunities. But I'm also hoping that we can work with some developers that will be needing services. And when most of the applications for funding are competitive, so you need to be able to present a package, or the developer needs to present a package that's very well rounded, shows they're going to have services, they're going to have management by a qualified company that will all raise the number of points they get and hopefully get their applications processed, or that they would be the ones that get the funds. So it's going to be a collaboration between companies like community housing and developers to try and get the needs met.
Okay, thank you. So, with the in this information era, do you use information technology in your area of work, and how has it helped in your work?
Well, the part of the technology has been is that the sites and the main office are much more well connected. We have the ability now, and that finally the industry has become more technological in that we have programs now that allow us to certify our residents that they're meeting the income qualifications, where HUD has a program that they use where they do a data search through a lot of databases to make sure that the residents that we're moving into the building meet all the income qualifications. Mm-hmm. And then we get feedback if someone doesn't meet it, as so that we would have to say, I'm sorry, you can't move in. But the connectivity that we have now, the program that we use to certify and recertify our tenants, print the leases out, store the information so that we can go back and pull it in. Instead of my having to go to the property to check a residence file, I can do most of it online now. I can go in and check the program that we use to make sure that I can verify the income of a certain resident, or I can get household information to provide to our owners and lenders that we work with, that we're providing the correct qualifications for the business that they move in. So the technology has gone a long way from 20 years ago when we're still some of us using ledger cards to collect rent. Now it's all done, and we can provide timely work to accounting. Our bill paying system is now mechanized and can be submitted electronically.
Okay, thank you. So, as a graduate student as gerontologist, would you recommend agent services management as a career, Why or why not?
I think anybody that's interested in working in gerontology, there's a lot of opportunities. The aging population and the rapid kind of growth in that population has made gerontology a good field. And I would think property management or even development of this, if you're doing senior housing, having that background with gerontology gives you some insight as to what people are looking for. How do they want to live? What would be in their apartment that would be an advantage to them? Making sure that things are fitting the internet, the design elements that make it easier for a senior to age in place. The main gist of a lot of what we do and what we're trying to accomplish is to allow people to age in place versus having to go into some kind of a convalescent facility because they're not able to afford assisted living. Assisted living is very expensive compared to what we do. So by providing great services and having apartment design and having the management aware of the aging process, it enables us to then turn around and help things make things better for the residents to stay longer. I want more people that are 100 years old to be living and to be able to be living in buildings. And I think any knowledge you have about the aging process of gerontology, it gives you an insight into the population you're serving.
Yes.
You know a little bit more about what they would like and how they would like to live. Plus, it gives you the insight on how the building can be run and how the programs can be put together to benefit the residents.
So there's one more personal question because I was
Sure.
Yes, I was wondering, what do you think about aging in place or aging in community? Is there any influence toward your field or toward your work?
I like the idea of aging in place for as long as possible. Either sometimes it's bringing in a caregiver or somebody that can help them do chores that they can't do. But I think that in looking at how people live when they still feel they have some independence, gives them a want to try and take better care of themselves, try and stay healthier, going into a convalescent hospital or some kind of facility like that kind of makes them feel a little bit less valued, I think. So